Going live. All right, here we go. Going live as we hit record on this computer. All right, looks like we are live on Facebook. We are live on Zoom as well. Good afternoon. Hope everybody is doing well. You guys are enjoying your Wednesday afternoon. It's Ron here in the VIP circle. And I'm going to pull up the feed here on the VIP circle. If you're watching this live, hashtag live. If you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay for me. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you've got good audio. And hashtag live. If you're on the live, let me know you're out there. Let me know you're watching. And then also hashtag replay if you are on the replay. Today's Facebook Live is a discussion based on agree or disagree. One of my new favorite things that I'm doing, just putting out, just starting a conversation about some topics based on fitness and nutrition, trying to get people's perspectives, and then having a discussion around it. Last week, we talked about Adele and her 100-pound weight loss. This week, we're talking about an article that I came across about a fitness influencer, food influencer on Instagram. Her name is Eloise Head, and she has an Instagram page called Fit Waffle, where she likes to post pictures of indulgent type foods, cakes, desserts, whatever. Now, this is a part of a business that she has for herself, as well as being a personal trainer. And so the article basically discussed sort of that dynamic of, her being a personal trainer, but also this business that she has and the Instagram Fit Waffle page. She regularly gets the question, do you eat all of these foods? And so it got me thinking, and I posted the question earlier, agree or disagree, you can eat any food you want and still lose weight. And so a lot of you chimed in on this topic and got a lot of good feedback, really, really great stuff. And so I want to talk about that as we are going. Again, as you're joining on the discussion, hashtag live or on the replay, hashtag replay, let me know that you are on the feed and as a part of this discussion, okay? So, can you eat any food you want and still lose weight? The answer to that question is yes. I know that may be shocking to some of you, and I know a lot of people saw the post and kind of went past it because it kind of makes you think, can you? And maybe you feel sort of that tension, that internal tension, because maybe you've received the messaging that there are some foods that are good for weight loss, some that are bad. Okay, and so we're going to discuss that dynamic. So the answer to the question is yes, you can eat any food you want and still lose weight. And here's why. We're going to kind of start with the science of it and then go from there, from the different aspects of weight loss, not only from the standpoint of science, but also how I coach clients. And then I'm going to address some of the comments that came from the post originally. So yes, you can eat any food and still lose weight. Now, how does that work? So we want to talk about the science part of it first, okay? It's called the law of thermodynamics. And I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure I want to be clear about this discussion so that there's no confusion. If you have questions anywhere along the way, go ahead and post them and we'll get to those towards the end, okay? So the law of thermodynamics, it's calories in, calories out. You probably have heard that, right? Your energy expenditure has to be greater than your energy intake. So food is basically used to be converted to energy. So when we talk about weight loss, your energy expenditure, your energy output, which is your basal metabolic rate, and your activity plus exercise. Okay, so that's gonna comprise your energy output. That has to be greater than your energy intake, how much food you eat, how much you drink, all of that, right? Anything with calories that you drink, that also goes in as well. So all of that is what comprises weight loss, a caloric deficit to be specific. Okay, so your expenditure has to be greater than your intake. That's what we call a caloric deficit. In theory, that is what you need to lose weight. You have to be in a caloric deficit of about 500 calories per day, 7 days a week. That gets you to 3,500 calorie caloric deficit, and that will get you to a 1 pound weight loss each week. So that's what the math is. That's what the math and the science is. 500 calorie deficit per day, 7 days a week will equal 3,500 calories. And that should get you to a 1 pound weight loss. So that's the science of it, the law of thermodynamics. Okay. So even in that, you can kind of see, yeah, as long as my calories are less than my expenditure, I should lose weight. Okay. So you can overeat healthy food, chicken, broccoli, sweet potatoes, whatever is healthy, nutrient dense. You can overeat that and still gain weight. And in fact, that's how bodybuilders eat. They live in what's called the caloric surplus. They eat over their expenditure so that they can put on mass, okay, put on weight. Now, the opposite is true as well. You can eat ice cream. As long as you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight, right? Theoretically, right? It's because now your intake is less than your expenditure. Now, that's not a great way to lose weight, obviously, and I'm not here, advocating for that, okay? Because if you're eating ice cream to lose weight, obviously you're going to feel terrible. It's not nutrient dense. You're losing the vitamins and minerals. So the quality of the calories do matter. Okay, they do matter. But in terms of energy expenditure versus energy intake, yes, in theory, you could eat ice cream as long as you're in a caloric deficit. You will lose weight. You're going to feel terrible. And you're not going to be at your best, but you will lose weight. And as I said, the quality of the calories matter. Nutrient dense food, they have fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Okay. All of that, especially the fiber, will keep you satiated longer. That's why, as a trainer, I urge clients to have a diet that's mostly nutrient dense foods. It will satiate you longer. It will keep you full for longer so you don't overconsume calories if you are trying to lose weight. Okay. Then also the vitamins and the minerals are helpful to support bodily function as well. So those are other aspects that we want to recognize when it comes to nutrient dense foods. But in terms of intake, food with fiber, nutrient dense foods will keep you fuller longer, keeping you from taking in any excess calories if you're trying to lose weight. One thing I wanted to mention, since you're talking about eating ice cream and losing weight, there's no food that is good or bad. And maybe you've been told that. And I know early on in my career, I used to say, oh, that's good. Well, that's bad. Well, that's good. That's bad. But inherently, food is neither good nor bad. Okay. A food may not serve your goal. So, in that sense, we want to make better choices. But just like money is not inherently good or bad, food is not inherently good or bad. It's how you use food to achieve the goal that you want that will determine the outcome. And so maybe it's good for that purpose, or maybe it is not. But food in itself is not inherently good or bad. As you can see, we're talking about caloric deficit, and really that being the main way to lose weight. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out. Maybe that's something that is kind of in your rattling around in your brain, that food is good or bad. Maybe you want to reframe how you are thinking about food. Um, Eating too many processed foods, going back to the example of eating ice cream to lose weight, eating too many processed foods will cause you to overconsume. As I said before, nutrient dense foods will satiate you longer because of the fiber, right? Well, if you eat processed foods, if you eat foods that are not calorically dense, you're going to be hungrier throughout the day more often. That will cause you to overeat, to overconsume. Okay. So that's an important concept to understand. That's why, in theory, eating ice cream to lose weight, to maintain a caloric deficit could work. But the reality of it is it won't work because of that particular point. Ice cream is not nutrient dense. It's not calorically dense. So you may eat that ice cream, but you're going to be eating a lot of other things as well because you're going to be hungry more consistently. You're going to be hungrier constantly because the food is not satiating enough. The ice cream will not fill you up. So that will cause you to overconsume. So that's where, in theory, something sounds good, but in the practical use of it won't be ideal for your goal. Okay. Same with alcohol. Too much alcohol. Sometimes clients and people that I know, they don't count the calories that they are drinking alcohol, sugary drinks, things like that, that will cause you to overconsume. Meaning that these beverages have calories to them and they're not being accounted for when you're talking about the totality of energy intake for the day. Okay, so that's another area where clients sort of miss the mark. They forget about the calories that they are drinking. Here's another area where clients will sort of miss the mark. Overestimating their activity and underestimating non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, so the NEAT calories that are required to create a caloric deficit, and then overestimating the amount of calories that they are expending in a workout. For most normal people, and I know we have runners in this group. I'm a runner, and so we have endurance athletes in this group. This doesn't necessarily apply to you guys, but for the general public, most of the time, the amount of calories that a person burns in a workout is at best 25% of your caloric expenditure for the day. 25%. So it's only a quarter. That's how small your calorie burn in a workout is relative to the rest of your energy expenditure throughout the day. Now, endurance athletes are different. You know, we can go longer, we'll burn more calories. So I'm not talking about you guys. General public, it's going to be about at best 25%. That means 75% of your caloric expenditure is in what's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, meaning walking, standing, sleeping, bodily function, digestion, breathing, your respiratory activity, your heart activity. All of that requires energy expenditure. Okay. And so that's what we're talking about. So like when you hear things about like park farther away from the store so that you can walk up to the front door, like all of those things over time will add up to weight loss because you're expending more energy and making more of an effort and being more active, thus increasing your activity and your caloric burn and your weight loss. Okay, so overestimating exercise and underestimating NEAT. That's another area where clients will kind of miss the mark as far as their caloric expenditure. Another thing that I find with clients, and also when it comes to losing weight, a lot of times we'll underestimate our caloric intake. We'll underestimate the caloric intake, the number of calories that are being consumed on a daily basis. We're underestimating it. meaning we're overeating and not even realizing it and wondering why we are not losing weight. So it's very important that you do what's called a dietary recall and you refine the process of what you're doing to its bare minimum. Some people will call that, I forget what the term is, but basically you're resetting the way that you're eating to sort of a bare minimum so that you can find what it is that's causing you to overeat. And so a dietary recall and then also logging your food will give you more awareness and give you more accuracy as far as how many calories you are actually consuming on a daily basis. Again, see it all the time. I get a food log, it's 1,400 calories. A few things are missing from there, possibly, or the caloric intake is, it's being underestimated. And so we're not getting the result that we're looking at. So it's very important to be aware and not underestimate how much you are eating on each each day. What you're not underestimating your caloric intake. For example, I used to eat a lot of peanut butter, and I still do to some extent. But just a tablespoon of peanut butter can be almost 200 calories. You do that a couple of times, 3, 4 times, like I was doing in my protein shakes with my oatmeal. Though that tablespoon of peanut butter will start to add up and will cause you, something as simple as a tablespoon of peanut butter can cause you to not lose weight if that is your goal. So it's those little things that you need to be aware of. So dietary recall and then logging your food. When you cannot manage what you do not measure. Okay, you cannot manage what you do not measure. So if you have no idea how much it is that you're eating, it's imperative that you at least take a few days to jot down and start to understand how much you're actually eating on a daily basis. You may be surprised by how much you're eating, and that could be the key to unlocking your weight loss. Okay. So Lydia, you mentioned macros, okay, as a way to sort of manage your weight loss or to, as a framework for losing weight. Here's my experience, working with a few hundred people in weight loss. Number one, most people have a hard time with just figuring out calories, both in and out, how much they're expending on a daily basis and how much they're taking in, as I talked about, underestimating and overestimating in the various areas. Macros is like even way more complex for most people. Now, I find that accountants and people who do inventory and who are very numbers driven are very good with macros. And so that is a framework for them that they can use to manage their caloric intake. So macros isn't wrong, it's just different. And in my experience, doesn't work for a large part of the population. Just food logging alone is so meticulous for busy people. It's hard to get them to be compliant to just that. Forget even doing macros. But as I said, if it's a framework that works for you to get you into a caloric deficit, then use it. Bodybuilders use macros. However, macros can be manipulated so that you can enjoy foods that are not calorically dense and cause you not to be able to reach your weight loss goals or your weight gain goals by adding a lot of fat in there. So yes, it can work, but it can also be manipulated. So just be aware, Lydia. All right. So getting back to the question, can you eat any food and lose weight? Yes, you can. And this is how I coach clients. When we talk about weight loss, one of the best ways that you can approach your weight loss is to use, which you've probably heard of before, is 80-20 approach. 80% nutrient dense whole foods, 20% is going to be your indulgence, your alcohol, your donuts, your ice cream, your whatever, chicken wings, whatever it is. That's where that 20% lives. Most people will get results with that framework, with that approach. And so if you're struggling with too much restriction or too much deprivation, um, I would recommend finding a different framework in which you can work on your weight loss so that you feel like you can eat any food you want and still work on your weight loss goals. Now, it's a tricky situation because when you make a statement like you can eat any food you want, it's like a green light goes off and it's like, golden corral, all bets are off, anything goes. And it doesn't work like that. And she even mentions it, Eloise, I think is her name, mentions it in the article. The cakes and the cookies and the desserts that she has on her Instagram page, that is a part of her business. And she does eat the food, but she only eats it for taste and to satiate, and then she moves on. She doesn't overindulge. And that's the biggest key. If you find that you're at a place where you're overindulging, you've gone too far already. And so you're not using that framework of 80-20 and moderation, right? And then maybe it's the frequency. Maybe it was once a night, then it becomes twice a night, then it becomes 3 times. And then before you know it, you've got to have ice cream in the refrigerator every night of the week. And now, the wheels have come unhinged, and, now you're putting on, all of this excess weight. So this is where moderation in 80-20 becomes a slippery slope, because now we've opened the door. But 80-20 is not, it's not, like I said, it's not a call to just all bets are off, anything goes. It is to enjoy, but with parameters. You have some parameters. So that way you're not buckling under the pressure of deprivation and restriction, because that will literally break a person and cause them to binge. And maybe some of you have been there before, but that this is one methodology to move away from restriction and deprivation and still be able to enjoy any of the foods that you would like, so that you can keep losing weight. All right. So I hope that helps. I know it's a lot of information. Let's see. Let's see. Ryan, thanks for checking it out. Lydia, how's it going? Jessica, thank you for checking out the video. Catherine, thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Yesenia, what's up? Lisa, hello. Lisa had a comment. She's gone too far already. Hey, the first step to change is awareness. And, being aware of kind of where you're at. Maybe you have gone too far. You can always pull it back. You can always pull it back. One of the biggest things also I forgot to mention when it comes to that 80-20 approach, moderation, you're only going to be willing to adhere to that equal to the lifestyle you want to live. Okay. You're only going to adhere to moderation and 80-20 based on the desire of the lifestyle that you want to live. So if you have a goal, but the lifestyle that is required to meet that goal gets you below where you are currently living, you may not be interested in pulling back in your lifestyle to achieve that goal. And that is something that most clients do not consider. Yes, it's good to have goals, but the reality of it is maybe the lifestyle that you have right now won't allow you to do that. And maybe it's not even about desire. Okay. I'm not even going to say you don't want to do it, but maybe you maybe have children that require an inordinate amount of your time. Maybe you travel for business. Well, maybe not right now, but in the previous travel life, business life, you were traveling a lot, or you're working a lot, or, whatever. Maybe the dynamics of your life and your lifestyle, your work lifestyle, won't allow you to meet the required lifestyle of the goal that you want to reach. That is going to be problematic. Now, there is also the other aspect where maybe you just don't want to give up the lifestyle to meet the goals that you believe you want to achieve. That's something that you are going to have to sort of unpack and resolve within yourself. Because anytime you have a goal like weight loss, it's going to require you to pull back the lifestyle that you are currently living so that you can meet that goal. It just is. You know, that is the trade-off, the exchange. If you want change, I heard, I forget who it was, it'll come to me, said if you want change, there's an exchange. If you want change, there's an exchange. So if you want change in your weight, if you want to lose weight, there's an exchange. So it's probably your lifestyle, pulling back on the lifestyle so that you can meet that goal. And that's where it is. You want that change, there has to be an exchange. And so that lifestyle is a big driver of whether people will or will not, you know, meet or achieve a goal. So that's just another component of weight loss that I wanted to mention before and give you something to think about. But this has been a lot of fun. Hi, there's Yesenia. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them in here. I appreciate you all stopping in and watching this video. You know, I'm going to continue to post these articles and these thought-provoking discussions, agree or disagree. I really find that they're interesting, and it's also a great sort of catalyst to get people talking and sharing their different views. And then it gives me an opportunity to help coach and shed some light from my professional standpoint. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and post them in here. Again, yes, you should be able to eat any food you want and still lose weight if you use an approach of 80-20 and moderation. Okay, moderation, meaning moderation in the word insinuates that there is a parameter, a limit to what you can enjoy. Moderate. There is a boundary, a limit to which you can enjoy foods. Okay, so it's not completely off limits, but you should be able, in its proper amounts, be able to enjoy the foods that you want to eat, no matter what they are. I know for myself, you know, I don't drink anymore, so that's an easy one to give up. But here during the during the pandemic, you know, ice cream has been plentiful here in our household, and so that's one of the things where I have to monitor myself, because I could probably eat ice cream every night, and you know, there have been a few nights in a row where I have had ice cream, and I have to catch myself and say, hey, you know, let's ease up, let's put the lid back on the pint. Let's put the pint back into the freezer, like way into the back of the freezer, and let's call it a night. So, you know, these are the kinds of things that we have to walk out if we have goals that we want to achieve. And so as long as you can maintain that, you should be able to enjoy any food you want and still lose weight. Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's it. No questions here. Hey, look. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys stopping in and checking out this Facebook Live. We'll be doing more of these. And if you have any questions, especially on the replay, #replay, let me know. I'll get the notification, and we'll address that question that you have. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. And I've really enjoyed doing these videos. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Hopefully you learned a few things. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care.